Okay, we are live on all outlets except for Instagram, which I'm setting up right now. Hi, I'm Amanda Marino. I am the owner of Next Level Recovery Associates, and we are this message in this podcast is called Recovery Solutions. And I love to feature various professionals that are doing interesting things that I feel like the world needs to know about. So the cool story between me and these two ladies, Jade and Anna, is I was feeling really run down from travel and kept getting sick. And I said, I need to do something. And I remember my friend Tim told me about this awesome place that does IVs and does, different kinds of therapies that are, like really, can help mental health, can help physical health. And that's how I met you, Jade and Anna. So thank you guys for being here today. If you could just introduce yourselves, who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into some Q&A.
Sure. Thank you for having us. First of all, it's so awesome, and what an honor to be on here. It's awesome, and thank you for what you do. My name is Jade. I am one of the operating owners of Restore Hyper Wellness, and also the regional nurse that oversees the medical side at both of our locations.
And you do an amazing job, because my first day there, you and your husband were both there, and you guys made me feel so comfortable, and I just felt like I was at home there my first day there. So good. You guys have a welcome. Anna, if you could introduce yourself to everyone.
Yeah, my name is Anna, and I'm a general manager at Restore in West Del Rey. I'm also a wellness coach, so I love helping people with all of these modalities that we have and make them feel better. And I'm super excited to talk to you about what we offer and just in general natural things that people can do to make them feel better.
Yeah. So I remember when we kind of touched base about this, because this is my first time having two people on. So I want to share that, which is exciting. So we connected yesterday just to kind of talk about a little bit of that, but like, I want to hear, like, Jade as a nurse and Anna, as a professional, like what brought you to this? Like, Jade, if you could just share, like, what brought you to this? Because this is, kind of like alternative medicine would be considered, but it's just natural healing, right? Which is actually what my undergrad is in, alternative medicine. So what brought you here as a nurse?
Yeah. So I was originally born in South Africa, just like a little bit about me. I lived in South Africa for only about a year, but my whole family's from there. And I moved to Canada, and I lived in Canada. I'm a big mutt. I moved to Canada. I lived there for about 6 years. And ultimately my family moved over here to Florida. So I've basically been, raised here since I was little, grew up playing soccer. And ultimately I went to the University of Miami nursing school. And I initially went to nursing school to be a nurse anesthetist. It was like my dream to be a nurse anesthetist. And my last rotation in nursing school, I was at the University of Miami Jackson Memorial Hospital, and I was in the pediatric intensive care unit, and I fell in love with it. I absolutely fell in love with it. And for 15 years, I worked in pediatric ICU. I never looked back. It was the absolute best. I mean, obviously very rewarding, very sad. And then ultimately I had my own family. I got married, and I have 2 little boys. And I think that's kind of when my career took a turn. It ended up kind of weighing on my mental health a little bit, being in that environment after so long. And in a way I felt a little selfish, but I felt I needed to almost protect myself and my energy and my family. So I ended up leaving there, and that's where I found Restore. So when I found Restore, it was amazing, because it's such the opposite of obviously Western medicine, of all, the medication. And I do think that there is a role for that, but it's really cool to see the other side of it, where it's like prevention and really helping people.
Yeah.
So I started as actually a part-time nurse there. I was not an owner yet, and fell in love with it. My husband and I just fell in love with it. And ultimately our business partners presented the opportunity to become partners there, and ended up opening a few locations with them. And that's what we do now.
I love that. And I love the piece that you said about, like, yes, I too, even though my degree is in alternative medicine, I too believe in, medicine, of course, when it's needed. But, the things that you all offer are just like ways to continually take care of yourself, your health, your mental health, your immune system, that, can just optimize everything, right? And prevent you from having to go to a doctor and get on a medication.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just a really quick story, and then I'm full of stories here, but then I'm going to let Anna talk. My one of my first, I think it was like my first week at Restore, I was there and I was doing IVs, and we got a call from one of our clients who is still with us and still at Restore and lives, breathes, eats Restore. And we got a call for me to do a concierge at his house, extremely depressed, just really suffering with a lot of mental health problems. And I ended up going to his house. He just wanted an IV. He couldn't even drive. He was just severely depressed. And I went to his house and ended up doing his health history and just sitting down with him, giving him an IV drip. And I didn't know much about mental health and these things, these modalities at that time. Obviously I took a deep dive into it now, and I am much more educated on it. But we ended up going on and looking at while I was there, and hyperbaric oxygen and NAD therapy and red light therapy and all these things that we offer, cold exposure. And I ended up driving him to Restore that day.
Wow.
And he did all these modalities. And I'm telling you, he's now in the book that the CEO wrote for Restore, and it has completely changed his life. So to say that, there's a lot of science behind these things, but when you really see it happening in front of your eyes for all these people and it's changing their life, it's really amazing. It's really cool.
It really is. I love that. So Anna, what brought you to Restore? How did you end up here, and what do you do also as a wellness coach? I'd love to learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I've basically been into health and wellness, fitness for a really long time. I guess I started out working as a personal trainer, kind of helping people that way, just with the exercise part of it, and as well as nutrition, and then seeing how their mental health also changes just by introducing those.
Yes.
And then about 6-7 years ago, I got pretty sick. Not really sure what was wrong, but I was taking antibiotics. I don't know if it was viral or bacterial or what it was, but just antibiotics, everything, nothing was really helping. So I just started looking things up and just Googling different herbs and things like that you can take. So I found this doctor that was doing a colloidal silver IV. And colloidal silver is a natural antibiotic that is actually even effective against certain bacteria resistant or resistant bacteria, even in hospitals. So
wow.
And honestly, after about 2 months of being sick and just taking antibiotics, all that stuff, I felt better that day, and then it was almost gone the following day, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it's like a miracle.
Yeah.
And doesn't harm your body.
What's that?
I said, I love there's no side effects and it just helps you. And that's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then that kind of led me to also get a degree in alternative medicine, just like you.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. So I got to learn some more things there. And I just love the lifestyle part of it. There's so much that we can do that we have control over. So.
And Anna and I do bump into each other at the gym. We did weird leg shaking yesterday because mine were. They were.
Yes, it was super intense. It was hard.
Good one. I was like, wow, I'm sore leaving here. That's intense, Yeah. So I love that. So what modalities, what are your, Jade, what is your maybe favorite and maybe a story of something that you guys do, someone that's come in with something. It could be mental health or health. I would love to hear each one of your favorite stories with a client.
Sure. I think for me, the story that I told is one of my favorites, just because it was really my first experience and it was amazing. But I have to say, so we service clients. I don't know if you've ever heard of the 22 Project. Okay, cool. So it's a foundation that was created by a veteran, and they service veterans from all over the country, and they fly them in here, and they basically do, each veteran does, and they obviously suffer with PTSD and traumatic brain injuries. But they're flown in and they do 30 days of 90 minutes twice a day of hyperbaric oxygen, which a lot of people know hyperbaric oxygen is in hospitals, for wound care and for all these things. But no, really, it's It's amazing for everything. It's probably my favorite service we offer, hands down. And when they come here, we offer them free services to come in and do infrared sauna, cryotherapy, compression therapy, and they can come in and take advantage of that, which really helps with the hyperbaric as well. But what's really cool is to see what they'll do is the 22 project, they'll do an MRI study of their brain prior, because PTSD is a real thing, right? It is lack of oxygen to your brain, and it's not just, anything made up in their head. That a lot of people do say that it is not, and on these MRIs, you can see the spots in their brain, and obviously different parts of your brain are responsible for different things that you deal with in your life. So it's so interesting. You see these parts of their brain that are lacking the oxygen, and after 1 month, so 30 days, doing this twice a day for 90 minutes, they repeat that scan, and it is completely different. You see the oxygen that has healed the cells and the brain tissue and all that. So I have to say, that's my favorite thing to do. I love hearing their stories, seeing them feel better and look better and physiologically better. So I have a million stories, and I could go on, and every day I meet someone new. But
I love that. And veterans so need these things. Obviously there's now so much research. So for someone to say, oh, this is not real and not a choice. No, now we have actual brain scans, and we have actual research on, the improvements and things like that. So that's a beautiful thing you guys are doing. I love that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, what would you share as a service and a story that you guys offer that's something that fills your heart?
Yeah. There's so many, honestly. I just love seeing the changes in clients, even after first one visit or over time as well, the progression of it. And then there's also the connection aspect of it. So we really get to know the people, get to know about their families, their life, their progress, what's going on. We want to know. So just somebody being able to come in and kind of talk to us about their problems and just kind of let that go, you'll see there's a sense of relief on their faces from that. But specifically, I guess the story, one recent one is there's a gentleman that was coming in, itself actually coming in, and he, there was something wrong with his hip, basically. And he was told by the doctors that it would be 6 months before he plays golf. And he just loves playing golf. So he was pretty upset about that. He was depressed. So he started doing hyperbaric oxygen chamber with the red light and the cryo. And within 2 weeks, after about 10 sessions of hyperbaric, he started playing golf again.
Oh, I love that.
And he's so happy. Obviously, that helps mental health because that's a huge outlet for him. So
yeah, I have to come. I haven't done either one of the ones you guys are talking about, so I need to come do those. Now I'm gonna call you after to schedule. Okay, so I want to refer to a couple of the questions. I'm not normally a reader of things, but I want to make sure I ask the question correctly. So, how do natural elements such as heat, cold, and oxygen therapy support mental well-being, and how do they differ from traditional treatments? Jade, I'll start with you.
So I guess I'll let Anna kind of talk about the red light, the cold exposure and red light part of it. I'll talk about the oxygen part of it. So in the world, we breathe 21% oxygen. That's what we all breathe. No one's different. Within the chamber, you're breathing 95 to 100% oxygen above atmospheric pressure. So essentially it's pushing. You don't feel it. You don't feel the pressure in there. It just feels like you're just hanging out reading a book, but it's pressurizing and pushing that oxygen into your cells and your tissues. And we have a lot of oxidative stress in our bodies, not even if you're dealing with anything, but just simply from the toxins in the air we breathe, the food we eat. There's tons of oxidative stress in our body. So oxygen starts healing it. So when it's pushing that oxygen into your cells, your tissues, your organs, your brain, it starts healing you on the cellular level. So again, traditional medicine, there's a place for it. Western medicine, I think, I'm not here to say go off your medication, and nor do I think you should go off your medication. But I think in conjunction sometimes with these things, there's huge leaps and bounds that are taken.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Anna?
Yeah. So when it comes to heat, light, cold, all of that is going to basically balance your neurotransmitters. So like your dopamine, your serotonin, norepinephrine. Like cold, for example, your brain is going to release norepinephrine, which is going to give you more focus, clarity, energy. The heat, the sauna is going to activate that relaxation response. So if you're under a lot of stress, just kind of coming in, getting into the sauna is going to relax the body. You're also going to sleep better. Because as the body is heating up, when you come out, the body naturally starts to cool down. And that's going to basically signal the brain and the body that it's time to rest. So you'll sleep a lot deeper. The sauna also releases growth hormones, which gives you a little bit more energy, recovery, that kind of thing. With the light, your brain is going to release serotonin and melatonin. So you're going to be in a better mood. It's going to reduce anxiety, lower blood pressure, and melatonin, which is going to help you sleep. So that'll help basically kind of regulate your circadian rhythms as well, so that your body kind of naturally comes into that balance.
I love that. And, like we know the correlation and there's so much research around, like things mentally cause things physically, right? And, I have many clients I work with that I know that a lot of their physical ailments are due to the stress and the anxiety and the brain and the gut health, like all that connection, So for anyone that we touched on this in the beginning. So for anyone that may question, okay, this is sometimes people say, oh, this is not real. Well, we have a medical professional on here. We have another professional trained in alternative medicine and a trainer. So what kind of scientific evidence supports the efficacy of these natural therapies?
I mean, there is so much research out there now. You can Google anything and find PubMed and a million studies on it, but there are definitely skeptics out there that come in and they're like, oh, this isn't real, or this just, whatever. And I always tell people, I can show you better than I can tell you. And once they come in and once they try the services, they're absolutely hooked, because the research is there. The research is all there. And the way that, like Anna was saying about your neurotransmitters, I mean, there's no denying that's what it does, So, and also I'll hear my husband telling people it's not a secret, if you get into a cold plunge and put yourself in cold exposure, you get into a sauna, you are going to feel good after. You are going to feel good. So something's happening in your physiology that's changing it,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I know when I go do the cold plunge in the sauna, sauna is easy for me. The cold plunge is really hard.
Absolutely.
But you feel such a difference, it just resets the brain. And I just feel like a different person when I leave.
Yeah. And when you put yourself into those situations where, same with me, I cold plunge this morning. I have a love-hate relationship with it, and I always tell people, but the reality is when, and Andrew Huberman, Dr. Andrew Huberman talks about this as well. And I love him. But when you put yourself in those situations, those uncomfortable situations, it just makes you more resilient. It really does, in every single aspect of your life. It really does.
And I've learned with the cold plunge, it's a mindset too. If I'm oh, I can't get in there, it's too cold, then it's worse. If I try to ease, if I just go, I actually put on some music that pumps me up, and I just go boom and get all in, and and then it's great. It's great.
Yeah,
it's magic. How about you, Anna? Do you know any specific research that you'd like to share?
Yeah, there's a ton of research, honestly, in medical journals, all that stuff, with hyperbaric, how it helps with depression, anxiety, PTSD, TBI. Same thing with red light therapy, TBI, PTSD, prevention from Alzheimer's, cognitive decline. There is one very popular study. It was a 20-year study that was done on infrared sauna, or actually saunas in general. And it followed 2,000 men over the course of 20 years. And they found that those that used the sauna 1 to 3 times a week had about a 22% less chance of developing cognitive decline type disorders. So less chance of Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, all that stuff. And then those who used the sauna 3 to 7 times a week was 66% less likely to develop Alzheimer's, which is huge.
It's huge.
That's amazing. Maybe I need to bring my mom with me too and come visit because I want to keep her youthful and healthy. I love that. What is the connection between micronutrient deficiencies and mental health issues? I know that Jade, like you shared kind of your entry into this space, from your background. So what would you like to share on that?
Sure. So it's huge. It's huge. I actually never knew how big it was until probably about a year ago. I really started doing like a deep dive into the research of that. But I like to compare our bodies to a car. I mean, when you're driving a car and you're, on E and you're running out of fuel, your car's only going to go so far, right? It's going to run out of gas. Eventually it's going to stop. Well, the body's no different. When you're not, giving yourself the quality, not just any, but the quality vitamins, minerals, amino acids that it needs. And by the way, there is some genetic makeup of that too, which I'll briefly touch on. I don't want to get like too scientific with it, but the reality is like our soil is not the same. The way our food is grown, it's not the same as it was 100, 200 years ago. So I'm a big proponent of supplements, right? Supplementing things. Yeah. Now, of course, I love IV drips. I love intramuscular injections, but also supplementing my mouth, although less absorption than the other routes, it's still going to be beneficial for you if you're doing quality, right? So just a few. So the first one, B12. So everyone, when they hear of B12, they're like, energy. I want energy. Well, no. B12 is necessary for making neurotransmitter serotonin, which Anna briefly touched on. So it's honestly essential for being in a good mood. When you're deficient in it, you're not producing the serotonin. So what happens is when you look at B12, there's different forms of it, right? There's a methylated B12, and then there's a synthetic B12 that's called cyanocobalamin. When you go to drink like pre-workout drinks and I'm not bashing them. I drink them too sometimes. I'm not bashing them, but
go in the middle with like an yerba mate.
I like it. There you go. Okay, good. But the reality is like people, it's an education thing, right? So people look at Celsius and they think, oh my God, there's B12 in there. But when you look at the ingredients in a lot of these things, it's the synthetic version of the B12. A lot of people have genetic variations. I don't like to call them genetic mutations, but I have several of them where my body cannot methylate. It cannot absorb that B12. And a lot of people have it. They don't know that they have it, right? Mm-hmm. So, and it's a simple blood test, but the best way to do it is just to not have cyanocobalamin, right? So you look at these different things and you ingest or take the shot or do whatever of methylcobalamin, and that is better absorbed than the other one. So that's. So the next one, and there's 5 vitamins I always talk about. The next one is folate, right? So folate is vitamin B9, also helps in the production of serotonin, and about 30 to 40% of people are deficient in it. Okay, so it's actually used by a lot of doctors nowadays as a natural antidepressant.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. And if any pregnant people, or if anyone's been pregnant here, it's in a lot of prenatal vitamins, right? A lot of prenatal vitamins, and it's for brain health and to prevent neural tube defects. So really, really important. If it's helping your baby, then of course it's going to help you. Now, same thing goes for this. There's folic acid, which is the synthetic version of folate. So when you go to take it, you want to make sure that you're taking the folate. You can get it at Whole Foods. You can get it at different places, right? I always say take one thing at a time, but with these two, you can take them. Sometimes they have it in a mix, and take it for honestly 4 or 5 days, and you are already going to see a difference of how you feel if you are deficient in it, and it's really helping your brain health.
Though, just on that note, aren't most people B12 deficient?
A lot of people are, and some people are over, and it's hard to tell because if you go to the doctor's office, they're checking your serum levels. Now, your serum levels could be super high, and that's because you're not converting it into your cells because you're taking a lot of cyanocobalamin. Again, not getting too scientific, but it's not converting over to the B12 that you need. So what we do is we check in the cells of what you're deficient in. It'll show us, we do 102 vitamins and minerals, tells us exactly what you're deficient in. We can customize your drips to meet your needs. Best thing in the world you could do for yourself, hands down. Don't have to come to us, but go somewhere that you can get that test. Everyone should do it. It doesn't matter if you're going to do drip shots. It's super important to learn your body.
Yes, I agree. And I think that there's like, even when I go get blood work, like every year, like I try to push for extra things. So I know they do such basic. I'm like, can you check more in this area? Like you have to like request it. So getting something like this, like can give you a full view of how to optimize your health.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we got this down. I want to hear the other three.
Yeah. So the third vitamin is thiamine. So these are all B vitamins. So thiamine is B1. Okay. And thiamine, people don't really know too much of it, but I laugh about it because I was deficient in it. And a deficiency in vitamin is going to make you feel anxious. It's going to make you feel like you're ready to fly off the handle, like you're on edge, like you're short-tempered. That was me. I really was. Like, I always felt like I was like on edge for some reason. I couldn't like figure it out. And I was deficient in thiamine. I started doing like, again, research, had the call with the company, all that, and they started explaining it. Thiamine deficiency comes from consuming a lot of highly refined carbohydrates. So waffles, pancakes, breads, pastas, things like that. That comes with a big deficiency in thiamine. So taking the supplement, if you have a good supplement that you're taking for thiamine, within honestly hours of taking it, you should already feel better.
Wow.
It's very well absorbed. Yep. And you'll right away start feeling better. So that's what thiamine does.
Okay.
Then you have magnesium, which isn't one of them, but I just briefly wanted to touch on it because it is so important. It's a vasodilator. It's a smooth muscle relaxer. So it's going to relax you. It's going to bring down your blood pressure. It's going to help with anxiety. It's going to help with sleep. It's going to help with mood. It really has a whole array. And a lot of people are very deficient in magnesium. So taking a good magnesium supplement, because it does throw off your neurotransmitters, being deficient in it is really important.
Awesome. Love that. I'm typing because I'm putting it in the notes. So.
I love it. Cool. So the last two are vitamin D. So vitamin D, I call it our happy vitamin, and it really is, because people know vitamin D as like, oh, I need an immune boost, or for bone health and calcium absorption. But actually, you do get it from sunshine, but there's been a lot of research out nowadays that say that just going out in the sun is not enough. Right. Especially they are showing, I think like 50% of people or even more that suffer with depression and anxiety have a big deficiency in it. So taking and again, I'm not a doctor, and everyone would find their own dose consulting with a doctor. Taking 20,000 to 50,000 IUs weekly is going to significantly help with depression and anxiety as well. And it also helps significantly with inflammation. And when you have inflammation in your body, you have inflammation in your brain as well. So vitamin D3, super important to take. And then zinc. Zinc helps boost your immune system, help with inflammation, but again, also helps with producing neurotransmitters. So that one's simple. You just take a zinc supplement. And then I know that Anna was talking about like when she took antibiotics. I just like to touch on how important probiotics are for you. So, and you mentioned, of course, Amanda, as well, that like everything starts with gut health. Everything starts with gut health. So what's happening is like people are like wiping out their microbes by really not putting good things in their body or antibiotics or something like that. And microbes really like make neurotransmitters. So it's really important to have a very, very good probiotic.
Okay. On that note, I wanted to ask you when you started this, but I was waiting for you to go through. Is there a specific brand or brands that you recommend?
Yeah. So I take Garden of Life and I love it. And it's very well absorbed. When you're taking supplements by mouth, you want to take like liposomal or under the tongue or liquid. But I have done research on Garden of Life, and it is Garden of Life, right? I'm almost positive it's Garden of Life.
I know that one because I use Mary Ruth's.
Mary Ruth's is also great. I like it. And I love their liquid multivitamin. One of our nurses at Restore swears by it and talks to everyone about it. So she's great as well.
Yeah, I was brought on to be like a promoter influencer for them, and I just don't have the time. But I do love them. I do believe in them, but I don't have the time to be like, hey, there's me take my Mary Move. I just don't have the bandwidth. But I do love them, and I have Garden of Life, I think, probiotics right now.
Yeah. No, I love that brand as well, and it's made a big change for me as well.
Okay, I just wanted to know if you approved of my vitamin line.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so Anna, like what does, what are some of the different IVs that you guys have? Because I know when I came, like I was run down, I was not feeling well. Me and Sarah, who work with me, we both kept getting sick, and I'm like, that's it, we're both gonna go, and I had like this mixture concoction that was like amazing, and I literally felt better right away. So if you could share a couple of the ones that that you guys offer that are helpful to people.
Sure. So first of all, when you get an IV drip, even if you're taking like the best brand supplement, food-based, all the good stuff, you're still only getting about, and with food, to about 30-40% at the most absorption, because it goes in the gut, has to be digested. So you're really not absorbing a whole lot. With the IV therapy, you're getting close to about 100% absorption, like 97-98%. And it's also the hydration aspect of it. So even if you're drinking water, taking electrolytes, with the IV, you're getting cellular hydration, which is a big difference. So immediately you will feel better, just like with what you experienced, what I've experienced. It goes into your bloodstream right away. So it's amazing. And there's really good ingredients that you can add for like immune boost, for if you feel like you're coming down with something. There's things for energy, weight loss, all kinds of stuff. So when it comes to like the immune boosts, we have a really great IV called Defender, and it has glutathione, it has vitamin C, it has some of the B vitamins, and then glutamine, which is great for the digestive system. So all of that is going to help the body detox a little bit and just get rid of whatever's going on. It's going to boost your immune system. So that's one of my favorites for if you're feeling run down.
Yeah.
And there's also things that are great for energy. So I love B vitamins. The vitamins that Jade had mentioned are actually some of my favorites. So I love B vitamins. I love taurine, which is an amino acid, and it helps with clarity and focus. We also have NAD, which is amazing for brain health. There's also things for if you feel like really stressed out and can't sleep. Magnesium is amazing for sleep and relaxation. There's actually a drip called Relax Drip. And our nurses are really amazing at kind of like customizing the drip to you. Yeah. So even if you come in like when you're already sick and if you don't have your micronutrient test, although it's always best to do the test first, we can kind of help the client customize the drip to whatever's going on. So your nurses are really great at that.
Yeah, like I said, you guys all made me feel like I was completely at home my first time there, and that's why we're here now, and we've stayed in touch. Jade, would love to learn or have everyone learn. I know some, but I've had many clients that have substance use problems, mental health problems that always want NAD. And can you explain what the benefits are, what results they're getting from NAD?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. NAD is one of my favorite. And by the way, you don't have to have anything wrong with you, or not wrong with you to say, but you don't have to have any ailments to do NAD. It's great for just general wellness as well. So what happens is NAD is something, it's a coenzyme of vitamin B3. That's what NAD is. And it's something we're all born with, right? And do you ever look at little kids and you're like, oh my gosh, they have like unlimited energy. They can eat whatever they want. They're so young. They're running around. They don't have metabolism issues. Well, that's their NAD stores. It's loaded. Wow. They're loaded with it.
They're spending energy, kids.
Like calm down.
Yeah.
But as you age, it naturally depletes, right? You don't have to do much for it to deplete at all. But there are things that make it deplete more. Overconsumption of alcohol and drug use makes it deplete more. Overeating. Over exercising, believe it or not. So even a lot of athletes are extremely depleted in it. So those
for exerciser, I used to be like intense. I was a little for a while. Now I just like, it's very healthy. It's a healthy outlet now. Not like I'm trying to go in the morning and go at night and like, definitely was there at that time.
Yeah. So all that is going to deplete your NAD scores. And as it's depleting, by the time you hit 40, it's completely cut in half. But as it's depleting, it's causing things in your body, physical signs of aging, chronic fatigue syndrome, decreased energy. It's shown now that it's causing, more severe diseases, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia. I can go on and on, but
Wow.
But what happens is when you give the synthesized version of it through the IV, it's creating, and not to go into too much scientific detail of it, but it's basically creating something in your body called mitophagy, which is basically it's destruction of your mitochondria. Now, if you know what mitochondria is, you're made up of trillions of cells, and inside each cell, you have your mitochondria, which is your battery pack of energy. And in there lives your NAD. And that's basically your energy. So what happens is when you're giving the synthesized version of it, it's destroying your mitochondria. It's a cellular detox is what we call it. So it's destroying your mitochondria. It allows for your new cells to start replicating at a perfect baseline health. And it was started in addiction treatment facilities for heroin, for people that were trying to detox from heroin, and they were doing 10 days of it and having amazing results. And then research started, and now all the celebrities are doing it and everyone's doing it. I've been doing it for 3 years. Anna does it and our staff does it. And you're seeing these changes, these subtle changes of, wow, I'm sleeping better. My mood's better. Have more energy. I don't have, so many wrinkles on my face, maybe, so it's like an no, it really, it's the miracle, but it's really like these subtle, because it's happening so far down on the cellular level. And it's an amazing modality. Mental health, PTSD, depression, anxiety, mood, chronic fatigue syndrome, like I said, it's really helping that. And then they're showing that it's working on the cells of the brain to help with symptoms of Parkinson's and prevent Alzheimer's. And it's really cool to see all these new studies coming out on it.
That's amazing. Yeah, I've only heard like raving things about it. And like I remember I had one client many years ago, and like in prime pandemic, like she was in residential care, and she was like insistent, like, I need to have NAD while I'm here. Like she fought for it, and like, it was a little extra cost for her mother, but she like, that was like the one thing that she was like, I will stay here if I can get NAD, so that's when I was more like, I learned more about it back then, but I always, hear about it, and just like, I was curious to know, more about it.
Yeah.
So if someone has never like done any of these things, like, I know you guys said you start with like a test, but like, what would you recommend if somebody is watching this and they're like interested, like, oh my God, I want to try one of these things, like maybe just make a call and see like where they're at, what their needs are, like where's the first step? Anna.
Yeah, so the first step would be to make the call. We have, like I mentioned earlier, really, really great staff. We're so grateful to have everybody that truly cares and that really wants to help people. So whenever somebody comes into the store, we will give them a customized tour. We're going to show them what we have. And then we're also going to ask them what's going on with them. Like, what are they feeling? What would they want to work on, improve, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, taking like the whole aspect of a person, mind, body, spirit into consideration. And then based upon that information, we can kind of customize something for them. And I always say like red light is always a good start, because it's going to kind of downregulate the nervous system. It's going to help you like reduce your anxiety, release a little bit of serotonin, a little bit of melatonin. It's going to supercharge your cells to make a little bit more ATP. So although it is a cumulative effect, that's a nice like introductory thing to do if they're like really kind of like scared to try something new. If they're more open to it, I personally love IV drips because you just feel amazing right away. So that is my favorite.
Yes.
And if somebody is just really looking to change how they feel, and they have good adrenals, because that would be like the only consideration to kind of look into, like, is adrenal insufficiency, cryo. So after about 3 minutes, they're going to feel a lot better. They're going to feel energized. Their mood is going to be better. They're going to be ready to tackle the day. So if they came in a little bit down, lethargic, tired, cryo is really going to give them that boost. And the only thing that I would be mindful for is any kind of adrenal deficiency.
Okay, that was actually my next question for you guys, was going to be about cryo, because I was going to do it the last time I was there, but I had to rush to go get my daughter because I ended up talking so long. Jade, to your husband, me and Sarah were like, it was like we were way past like our time, but we were just so engaged in the conversation and kind of like our philosophies at Next Level, like yours, and like we're team centered. And it sounds like, you know, when you have a good team and take care of your team. So yeah, we got lost in the conversation, but I was going to do it that day. What is that experience like? Like, I'm a little scared of it because I don't like the cold plunge, but I know, like, what are the benefits? What is it like? If you could share that, because I have no idea.
So we walk you through the whole process. So somebody's with you the whole time. And I like to focus on my breathing and just kind of get into like the inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold out for 4. It's called box breathing. Mm-hmm. So it helps me a lot. Personally, I'm one of the few that like meditative music in there, so that I'm just kind of like really calm. Yes. But most people like to get really pumped, and you know, they play their favorite song and they dance, and then they're super excited and happy when they come out. So that totally works too. But somebody is with you the whole time. You can come out at any time. You can have the window open and we can literally talk to you the whole time. Okay. So it's really not too bad. Yeah, and it's actually, in my opinion, it's easier than the cold plunge, because when you're getting into the cold water, there's like that sharp sensation on the skin when your skin hits the water. With the cryo, it's dry, so it just kind of feels like you're standing outside in cold air. So it is a little bit easier. Yeah, it's not too bad.
And Jade, what are some of the benefits of the cryo? What are you guys like? What would someone use it for? Go to, or maybe besides just wanting to try it for health benefits?
Yeah. Endorphin release. I mean, it's good for energy. It's good for better sleep. It's great for anxiety. We had a woman come in for probably 3 years straight, twice a day for it, and said it is the only thing that helped with her anxiety. So even though it's like that fight or flight, the shock proteins, all that, it's still very calming. And like we talked about with the cold plunge, even it makes you more resilient, being able to like tackle your day. So that's really cool. And it's pretty cool too, because like you see the way that if you're observant, I really am. If you see people the way they walk into the center, a little bit like with their shoulders forward, a little bit with their head down. And when they get out of these services like cryo, red light, and they're walking out, they have like pep in their step, you know, like their shoulders are back. They're like, yeah, you know, so it's really cool. I really love it. And, you know, like to your point about like, you know, people saying like, oh, I want to try it, but I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, we're going to walk you through everything you need to know. We're going to give you a tour. We're going to sit down. We're going to get to know you. It's intimidating to walk into a place like that. It's nerve wracking, you know,
what's going on. You don't know what the things do. You're really, you know, you're drawn to it, but you're like, what do I do? Where do I start? You know?
Yeah. We're going to customize your experience. And look, like you don't need to. And of course, I love the business. And for me, it's been a life-changing everything about it. But I think awareness without judgment is so important. And even just taking little tiny steps, a cold shower in the morning. You don't need a Restore. You know, it's great to have a Restore at your disposal, but to take a cold shower or start taking these supplements slowly and just little tiny steps. I follow this guy called Nick Bear. He's an ultra athlete, and I just follow him because I love him. But he says something that says consistency compounds, right? So that's with anything in life, whether it be running, taking a supplement, eating healthy, little tiny steps in the right direction. Like you're going to get there. You know, it doesn't have to be these massive things. I need a drip. I need cryo, then red light, then hyperbaric. It's like these little steps. It's going to help out in the long run, big time.
Oh, girl, you are speaking my language. So I talk about it so much too, is like, you know, people that want to change their life as far as like their mental health and their, you know, how they're feeling about themselves and self-esteem and confidence and all those things. Take one tiny action step today, right? It doesn't, like, people think that I have to do everything today. No, just start with one little tiny thing today. Like if you and I think I could have any like takeaway for people, that is it. Because people are overwhelmed, right? And they feel like it's like too much. So yeah, absolutely. One tiny, maybe add a probiotic into your life today. Maybe go for a walk. Maybe, like you said, take a cold shower. Yeah. These things can help your physical and your mental health, and you don't have to like create this whole new thing in a day. That's like too much for people.
Absolutely. And it's anxiety producing. I mean, when you're looking at the whole
Mhm.
staircase, it's like, oh God, but when you're taking one step at a time, it's like, okay, I can do this. I got this. You just have to believe you can do it. So
It's digestible to
yes, it's little digestible steps. That's it.
So I had one more question about the cryo. Now, does it help physical injuries? Like I have a shoulder kind of issue. Like, does it help with stuff like that?
Absolutely. I mean, remember that cold exposure and cold therapy is going to significantly bring down inflammation as well. And when you have any kind of injury, your white blood cells react and everything happens around it. It's not just that injury, it's everywhere, and it's the inflammation part of it. So that's going to help significantly bring down the inflammation, allow you to start healing.
And what is can you explain a little bit more about the heat? So you guys have a sauna, or what is the heat? The red light? Like can you explain that one to me? I don't know, because I know you have both in the cold. Anna?
So we have both. We have the infrared sauna, which is the heat, and then we have red light therapy, which is infrared, near infrared, and far infrared light. So those are two different things, two different elements. The heat, you're obviously going to sweat, you're going to detox, you're going to sweat out the heavy metals, the toxins. And a lot of the times, whenever there's some kind of a mental health issue, sometimes it can be the toxin buildup, it can be the heavy metals that contributes to a lot. So getting that out will make somebody feel a lot better. You just have to go slow, a little bit at a time. So don't go for the whole hour on your first session. I definitely recommend going slower, 20, 30 minutes. This way you don't have like a detox reaction where you don't feel too well.
Right.
But that's the sauna. That also helps. That's the one that I mentioned, that the study, the 20-year study that was done on the sauna. So that's the heat. And then there's light. So red light therapy is using near infrared light and far infrared light. And that helps with ATP production in the cells, helps with inflammation, literally everything. It works on every single cell in your body. And it's going to bring down that inflammation. It helps with skin health, mood, serotonin, melatonin, better sleep. It's been helpful for TBI, for depression, for SAD. It's been actually proven to be effective for SAD, or seasonal affective disorder.
I've had clients with TBIs too over the years, so this is like super good to know, like that these with those things, because there's a lot of correlation with some mental health struggles and some substance use after post TBI.
Yeah, for
so
TBI, definitely oxygen. There's a lot of studies that have been proven on that, and red light, absolutely.
Do people come in and do like the contrast? Like, do people come in and do like the hot and the cold? Because I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
You can definitely do that. So you can do the hot first and then the cold after.
That's what some people at my place, the cold plunge place, do the cold plunge and then the sauna. I need to get hot before I get cold. I'm a Floridian. Like I can't go in my pool probably now till like April unless I get a heater. I need to be 86 degrees or above for me to be comfortable in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome. So what, like, as we kind of like close up, our topic, the heat, harnessing natural elements, the power of heat, cold, and oxygen for mental health. Like, I'll start with you, Anna. Like, what would you like to leave people with today? Like, with anything, regarding our topic or anything that we talked about today, or just something where to start. Just how would you like to share with the world?
Yeah, I think just the act of self-care is huge. So whether you're choosing to go outside and do some breath work, or go on a walk, or come to Restore and get an IV drip and talk to somebody, or go to a therapy session, that's an act of self-care. So that alone is gonna kind of be a step towards in the right direction. All these elements, everything we just talked about, they are all in nature, and they're kind of designed so we all have access to them. You don't have to go anywhere. It's a little bit more accessible when you do come to a place where it's just like all in one place, so it just makes it easy. But it is available, and you don't have to do it all in one time.
Love that. Thank you so much, Anna. And you, Jade?
I think for me, just saying that, like, I think a lot of people have a preconception that you have to be an athlete to be, some people are like, oh, I don't work out or I don't do things, so I don't really need this stuff. Well, no, it's really, we have all kinds of people. We have working moms, business owners. Anyone can come in and take advantage of these therapies. We all have inflammation on our bodies from just everyday stress that we deal with. And these services will they will change your life. You just have to take one step in the door and try it, you know, and you will see the benefits.
Thank you. And I love the piece you said about the NAD. Like, you don't have to be sick, depressed, anxious, athlete, whatever, to go and get benefits from all of this, right? So it can benefit everybody. And if you are struggling with stuff and you want to start with like some natural healing, like that's the best place to start. I think all of us can agree on this call is, you know, starting with something that's natural. And then, like, of course, if you have an illness or you need or a psychiatric issue, like you need to take something, and that's, you know, follow your doctor in that. But there's things that you can do to lighten that load, to make yourself healthy, to keep your health optimal, and to, you know, age gracefully, you know, and comfortably.
Absolutely. And anyone listening to this, they come in, say, I was listening to you on Amanda's live, and they can get a free core service on us. So they can come in and just try it free on us.
Look at that. I love that. Well, I really, really love this. Like I said, this is my first time doing 2 people, and I think we did it great. I can't wait. I was just thinking, like, honestly, the whole time, like, okay, when can me and my boyfriend come in and do like a few things? So I'm going to schedule that when I can on my calendar and reach out to you guys. And I'm sure I'll see you at the gym, Anna. Yeah. And Jade, thank you. Like, you guys this is so helpful. You know, I just like to have people on to teach people things that can help them in any kind of way. And this is just this, I think so many people could be helped by, you know, these things. And even if they can't go to see you, you gave them some tools and takeaways for them to help themselves today. Like, go buy some folate, not folic acid.
Yeah.
So all these things are just like, there's so many great takeaways. And so I won't show on Instagram like all these things, but it will everywhere else, like on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. So all these little notes and takeaways will be there for good. So, which is awesome.
Awesome.
So, how can people find you? I'm just going to put your website. What's the website?
Yeah, it's restore.com, and you'll just search for our locations. And there's, I believe, 300 locations all over the country. So it doesn't have to be our location.
Boca and Delray?
Yep, Boca and Delray. Those are our locations.
Okay.
And, you know, they could call the center. They could go on there, look at our services, look at our pricing, and call us anytime, and we'll chat with them.
Okay. And what is the Instagram for you guys? So I'm going to add
Anna, it's RHW.
Yeah. It is. One second.
It just gives easy way for people to.
Yeah, corporate just changed them all. So that's why I think it's RHW _
Delray Beach. Yeah, exactly.
RHW _
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Delray Beach. And same thing with Boca, RHW _ Boca Raton.
Got it. Awesome. So thank you both so much for taking time out of your days to share your passion. Boca Raton or just Boca?
Boca Raton. I think so. I'll clarify with you too.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to, I think if they find one, they can find
Boca Raton. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone who tuned in, who watched a clip, or to stay for the whole time. I really appreciate you. My name is Amanda Marino, owner of Next Level Recovery Associates. Please follow me, Next Level Recovery Associates, Amanda Marino Official, on Instagram and TikTok. And, you know, if you have a recommendation of anyone that you'd like to have on here to help, like, you know, shed some positivity and light and healing in the world and educate people, please reach out to me, send me a message, or if you want to do it yourself. I'd love to connect with really great people. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, Amanda.
I'm going to end the live, but stay on for 1 second.
You got it.
Mm-hmm.